Imagine every person on Earth aiming a laser pointer at the moon at the same time. What would happen? Would the moon change color? Or would it just remain the same, glowing silently in the night sky? Well, let's start with the basics. Laser pointers are a common tool, but they're not powerful enough to do anything noticeable to the moon. In fact, regular laser pointers are way too weak to make any impact. But let's break it down. A typical red laser pointer has a power of about 5 milliwatts. That's very small. Even if 7.9 billion people, everyone on Earth, aimed their lasers at the moon, it would make little to no difference. The laser beam would be spread out over the moon's surface, causing almost no noticeable effect. So, what if we use stronger lasers? Let's say we gave everyone a 1-watt laser. That's much more powerful. But even at 1 watt, the total energy hitting the moon would still be incredibly weak compared to the sunlight. Sunlight hits the moon with about 1 kilowatt per square meter, and even with trillions of lasers, we only manage a few megawatts. It would be 200 million times weaker than sunlight. So, even with more power, the lasers wouldn't have much of an effect. The moon would remain as it always is. Now, let's try something even stronger. What if we equip everyone with a police searchlight? These high-powered spotlights can output around 50,000 lumens and can turn night into day on Earth. When focused on the moon, this searchlight would increase the light by about 20 lux, which is just barely twice as bright as the moon's current brightness. But it still wouldn't be enough to noticeably change the moon. It might make the dark side a little brighter, but the sunlit side of the moon? Not affected at all. Okay, we need more power. Let's swap out the searchlights for IMAX projectors, huge powerful projectors that use 30,000 watts. These projectors can output millions of lumens, but even with that kind of power, the effect on the moon would still be almost invisible. But what if we pulled out all the stops and used the world's most powerful spotlight? At the top of the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas sits one of the brightest lights on Earth, with an output of millions of lumens. If we focus that beam on the moon, would it make a visible change? Yes, now we have something noticeable. But the moon is still not changing color. It's simply getting brighter, but the surface remains unchanged. Now, let's get serious. Let's use mega lasers. The Boeing YL-1, a 747 equipped with a 1 megawatt laser, is a real weapon. But let's imagine using a visible light laser instead. We could now match the brightness of the sun hitting the moon, but this still wouldn't change its color. You would need an immense amount of energy just to match the brightness of sunlight. But even then, it wouldn't be enough to vaporize the moon. The result? More light, but the moon stays the same. Now, let's go completely overboard. What if we used a laser with the power of 500 terawatts? A fusion research laser, which could vaporize material instantly. We would focus this on the moon, and the amount of energy would be so immense that it could vaporize 2 meters of lunar surface per second. But as soon as the moon's surface begins to turn into vapor, it's transformed into plasma, and the rest of the energy would blast into space. The moon would begin to act like a rocket engine, propelled by the energy from these laser beams. In fact, laser ablation, the process of vaporizing material with high-powered lasers, might be a method to move objects, like spacecraft or even the moon. The moon would escape Earth's orbit, pushed out by the constant laser energy. The moon would leave Earth, entering an unstable orbit around the sun. But after a while, that orbit would no longer be stable. The moon would either be slingshot into the sun, ejected into deep space, or crash into one of the planets. Probably, it would hit Earth. And let's face it, if that happened, we would have deserved it. So, what did we learn? Well, even with lasers of unimaginable power, we can't just change the color of the moon, but we could send it flying off into space. Imagine, if everyone on Earth aimed a laser at the moon, what kind of energy would you think it would take to make a difference? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to X Imagine for more wow of this world scenarios.